this is Blake with the Three Hand Hunter channel, and I want to thank you for joining me today. Today, I'm going to show you the Nodus Avalon. You know, I've spent enough time with this watch now that I could really give you a good overview and give you my thoughts on this particular watch. And when I say this watch, I grab it more than any other watch in my watch box, there's a reason why. And I want to explain to you what those reasons are. So we're going to take a look at this beautiful 300-meter diver, the Nodus Avalon. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Nodus, the brand. I wanted to try Nodus for a long time. I really did, and I'm glad that I did because now I own two. It's a Nodus Sector, by the way. I'm a huge fan of this brand and what Wes and Colin over at Nodus Watches are doing. Now, I've watched a lot of videos about them and their watches over the years, watch reviews, and I've always wanted to try one. And this is the first one I came across. This is the Nodus Avalon, and the reason why I bought it is because it came up for sale and I said, you know, let's try one. I just want to try it. And I'm glad I did, because what I found about these Nodus watches is the finishing, and what you get is pretty darn cool for the price. You know, list price of this watch was $650 to $700. This is the end of 2021, and I wanted to share this with you because I think they have a new batch coming out soon. So I wanted to show you this iteration before the new ones hit the market. I'm assuming they're going to make a few different upgrades. I'm going to guess what some of them might be, but I'm going to tell you what things I don't like about this watch, which aren't many, to be fair. But I want to talk a little bit about Nodus, the brand, which is Latin. The name Nodus is Latin for node, or an intersection of pathways. Avalon is from the King Arthur or Arthurian legend. Avalon is the legendary island that featured Excalibur, and that's what's on the back, the case back of the Nodus Avalon. So I thought that was pretty cool, because when I first saw this watch, I was like, oh, they put a sword on the back. And then I'm like, oh, that's the Excalibur. Got it. So I've put two and two together. And then I read about, or I saw a review and I'm like, oh yeah, well, that makes sense. This watch itself, though, it's made so well. Let's talk about the dimensions a little bit and you know, how it wears. And that's important. So this watch is a 43.5 millimeter case. And if you take your calipers, you'll notice that's, you know, 43.5 from side to side. But if you go, you know, diagonal, it's going to be more like 42.5. But the watch wears a lot like a Seiko turtle. If you are a turtle fan, and definitely if you're a Seiko fan, you're going to see where a lot of the inspirations come up. And you're going to notice that the watches are very similar in their shape and design. But I'm going to focus on the Nodus here really quick. The lug to lug is 48 millimeters. So it's a cushion case. 20 millimeter lug width, and the watch is super slim for 300 meters. This is a 12, they say the website says 12 and a half, 12 and a half millimeters. I get, you know, more like 12.7, but that's excluding this very beautiful dome sapphire crystal. The watch is slim. I mean, if you look at the difference between like a Seiko turtle, whoops, I didn't mean to knock that over. You look at a turtle is more like 14. Let me pull the NATO off of here, or pull it out a little bit. The turtle is more like 14. Well, mine's a 15 because it's got a dome sapphire crystal in it. This is 2 millimeters thinner, and it wears it as well. I love the Seiko turtle. This is probably one of the more comfortable watches in my rotation. This is probably the most comfortable. I do have a 7¼ inch wrist, so I'll show you guys how I wear this watch in particular, but I want to talk a little bit more about the details here. Take a close look at the dial and some of the details in the dial. Now, what you'll notice in red, which matches the the traffic light secondhand, if you will, is you'll see it's written in, you'll see Avalon's written there. The Nodus insignia is also silver, or chrome plated, or whatever they use for the indices, but that's applied. And the Nodus underneath the hour hand here, let me move that out, is printed, but very classy. And you'll notice that the applied indices are beautiful. One of my dislikes about this watch is that even though I think the 12, 3, 6, and 9 indices are slightly bigger, it's still, for symmetry, it looks great, but it's hard for orientation, especially at night. You're gonna notice it. Get it? Notice. You're gonna notice that it's hard to decipher, where the top of the watch is, especially if you're moving your bezel around. I want to show you a couple of details about the side of the watch and the side of the case. You'll notice the beautiful beveling along the side. Those reliefs are cut so nice, and they look sharp, but they're not. And that's what makes it wear so comfortable. These reliefs on the side here, gorgeous. And notice the beveling and how beautiful the differences between finishings are. Now you'll notice the crown. I have it pulled out right now. And by the way, the crown action is awesome. I'm going to go ahead and put it back in and screw down the crown. But notice the finishing on the crown. It's like this. I want to say it's powder coated, or like a. Let me move my turtle out of the way. The way that that's coated or finished is exactly the same as the underside of this very slim bezel and the knurling. It's different from the rest of the watch that has like a brushed feel. It's almost like a bead blasted, I guess, but you'll see it finished just the same way underneath the bezel. But look at the top of the bezel. Look at it polished. It's beautiful how they have the differences between polished, this whatever coating they use, and it's a sign crown, no lume on that. Okay, one of the things that I dislike about this case is that there's no drilled lug holes. If this had drilled lug holes, I think I'd wear this watch all the time with so many different straps, but because it doesn't, I'm a little reluctant to change out the straps all that often. Anyway, but let's talk about the bezel action. And by the way, you'll notice with the bezel, it is a matte black finish where the dial is beautifully finished in black. So you're going to see a little difference between the two, but it looks really cool in different lighting. And that is a lumed bezel insert, which is gorgeous. Now listen to the bezel action. I mean, come on. And everything lines up great. From what I understand from Wes and Cullen of Nodus, that they're also Seiko fans, so you can see a lot of the inspiration between Seiko and what they develop here in Nodus. H-link bracelet, it's beautiful. I own a Degas watch, which is a modder out of who makes custom watches and mods out of Hong Kong. I owned a Typhoon, which is modeled after the Citroen. So this, you can see, it's got a lot of inspiration from some of these, I think Citroen, I believe. Anyway, I may have made that it's the Degas Typhoon. Anyway, you can see where a lot of the inspiration comes from. And by the way, these H-link bracelets are so comfortable. Let's talk a little bit about the bracelet. This is, by the way, this is 20 millimeter at the lug, the lug distance. You might say, oh, well, it's a 43 millimeter case with a 20 millimeter lug distance. It wears really well because the watch is so thin. So it doesn't matter if you have it on bracelet or you have it on something else. But you'll see that we tapered down to 18 with a 20 millimeter clasp. Great, clasp with milled end links. It's the normal micro brand fare, but nice chamfering right here. Signed buckle, no diver's extension. What I wish they did, and what they might be doing in the new versions, and I can't confirm that because I haven't seen them, would be there's no quick release buttons for the bracelet. But my assumption is Nodus is going to be going that direction if they haven't done so already, because this is one of those micro brands that, you know, they're on the up and up, and they stay up with, you know, trends, you can tell. And so this watch probably, you know, is you know, a couple years old. Actually, I should pull out the card. Even though I have the card, I should find that out. We're going to find that out here in a moment, because I have it in the box right next to me. Let me tell you how I wear this, though. I don't wear it on the bracelet. I'm going to put it on my wrist with the bracelet on, but what I do wear this watch on is these FKM rubber straps. Now, you can find these on eBay, and you'll notice a lot of micro brands are carrying them right now, and I'm going to set the watch down for a second. I have multiple colors and multiple sizes of this particular strap. You can find them on eBay from some sellers that are about 20 some odd dollars, but you can also find them on AliExpress for like 10 or 12. So it depends how long you want to wait for them. Quick release. These are the best rubber straps ever, and you'll notice it's the underside, you know, the little air pockets for comfortability with the rubber. It doesn't smell like the Italian rubber. It doesn't smell at all, but they wear so comfortable. They don't pick up any lint, and that's how I wear this Nodus, is with the rubber strap. Now, the reason why I do, and I'm going to show you the end links, which, by the way, those are female, which if you're a bracelet person, you're going to love this watch. I actually enjoy wearing this watch on a bracelet, but I prefer it on rubber just because I'm not a huge bracelet fan. But if you are a bracelet person, you can see how well that's going to wear. The end links are made, you know, they're not hollow, but they're really small and stout. And because they're small and stout, you're going to notice this very small opening where when you take out the end links, these fit almost like a fitted rubber strap. So there's not a huge gap between the rubber strap and the case, which makes it look really cool. And so even though these aren't fitted rubber straps, it almost feels that way. And because the watch is so thin, it wears and hugs against my wrist. If you follow me on Instagram, you're gonna know that I wear a lot of watches with NATOs. I do. And like, here's the Sector, Pilot, Blackbird on a NATO. I enjoy NATOs, but this watch, I really enjoy it on the rubber strap because it's so thin in its profile. So I'm gonna put it on my wrist, and give me 1 second here. There's the Sector, move that out of the way. And it's not fitted because I wear other bracelets with H links. This is the same as the Blackbird, and you know, they're very comfortable. But as you can see, it fits on my wrist really well. It wears super awesome because of the reliefs, because of the very thin profile. Look how thin that is on your wrist. It just melts to your wrist. And because of the 4 o'clock crown, it doesn't hit, you know, the top of your hand or the side of your wrist. Now I wanted to show you really quick the box that it came in, which is nice. It's a little box, doesn't take up a lot of space, which I find something that I actually appreciate more and more as you get in the hobby. It comes with this little watch roll. And the one thing about these Nodus watches that I really appreciate is they actually regulate them in different times. Now my watch is a 2021, so it's actually from this year, so it's, I guess, still under warranty. But because it's regulated in several different positions, this watch in particular that I have, it actually runs within a couple of seconds a day. And one of the things that makes it my grab and go, most grabbed to go watch is that it's a no date version. And I don't think I mentioned it has a 9000 series Miyota, which is the reason why you can have such a thin case. But I've seen reviewers say it's a 9039 and the website says 9015, but the 9039 I believe is the no date version, which I'm assuming has to be in this particular Nodus. But this watch, I just want to say, I grabbed this watch more than any other watch in my watch box currently, and it wears so comfortable for my 7¼ inch wrist. If you like a Seiko Turtle, you're gonna love the Nodus. If you like the styling cues that they have here, it is a very well made watch. And I guess I should say, in conclusion, for the price, you know, it's $650 to $700 on the website. You can probably find used ones for $400 to $500, somewhere in that neighborhood. For what you spend and what you get, it's a very, very nice timepiece. If you like the styling and you like micro brand watches, which I do. I love the fact that, you know, for me, being a Seiko fan, loving all of my Seikos, if I had to do something myself, I could imagine that I would have styled it something similar to what Wes and Colin have done with Nodus. And it's not a homage. You can see it's taking styling cues from Seiko, but these days, dive watches, there's only so much you can do. And when you see a watch that's built like this, as well as this one's built, doing their own thing and making it their own, you have to applaud it. And I do, and I really appreciate it. And you know what else I appreciate? I appreciate you guys spending the time with me today and looking at the Nodus Avalon. So let me introduce myself. My name is Blake, and if you made it this far, you might be like me, because I'm a watchaholic. So if you've made it this far, you probably are one too. I want to thank you so much for spending your time with me, and if you can give me a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. And subscribe to the channel if you like to see watches that you might not see elsewhere. All right, guys and gals, thank you so much. I will talk to you in the next video.